Good morning, Capricorn. Is it a good morning? I welcome to my channel. I'm Abby. I'm the Honest Oracle. We're going to do a 3-card spread for you today. I have been meditating on your energy for a day or so, really spending some time with it. I would say the first thing that really comes through, and this was a similar message for Taurus, but it came through kind of differently for you, was a divergence of some kind. So if you have prominent Taurus in your chart or you're curious, feel free to go check out that reading. It's not a secret. Like, you're allowed to listen to readings that aren't your sun sign or your moon sign or your rising sign. But I would also urge you to check where Capricorn is for you, or any like synastry you have necessarily with a Saturn or whatever. So this is a feeling of, so the word that came through first was divergence and then split. And so my first thought when I got divergence, and I think this has come through on an older reading from a previous iteration of my channel, but the first thought was like neurodivergence. Like, that's not my business. I'm not a doctor, right? But then it started to become more clear with this split. I also know that splitting can be something that happens to people with certain struggles with mood or relational trauma. And so I felt like the primary message was, you can't do this the way that you've done everything else. And that's what I mean when I say that seems to kind of be a theme right now. And as I go through the earth signs, apparently it appears to be pretty consistent across earth signs. So I'm wondering if there's a feeling of, Uranus is back in Taurus, it's retrograding. So I'm kind of wondering if there is a reflection on where we've been as Uranus transited Taurus, as it moves, stations direct and moves back into Gemini, all of that. But we're going to get some cards out. We're going to get a card about past energy, where you're at currently, and where you're headed as the energy stands right now. Remember, energy is fluid. I don't really do cross-watcher readings because I don't really do readings for people who aren't ever going to see them. So if you're watching this and you're in an interpersonal relationship with Capricorn, perhaps the message is for you, or you can check and see what area of your life Capricorn rules. And then North Node also came through for Capricorn, which I know there's people born for a period of 2.5 years who are going to have Capricorn as a North Node. And there was one other thing. Oh yeah. You got to mix it up, which, look, it's probably going to be easier for you than it was for Taurus, than it would be for Taurus. But there's something about mixing it up. Like I said before, it's like, you can't do this the same way you've done other things, even if those things were successful for you. This is a time where you've got to mix it up. You've got to do things differently. And then, so we're going to get the cards out. I've been called to lay them all face down and we can kind of discover them together. I have some charms we'll go through. I specifically chose this setup for you today. It felt nice and organized, very particular about how my setup was done. I did a lot of cleaning and moving energy around in preparation for this reading. So I think this is interesting. It's been interesting to kind of be in your energy. So anyway, we'll get these cards out, we'll get some clarification, we'll get some charms, and then I actually was called to pull something from this book that I have, and so that might be kind of fun. So let's get going. Spirit, let's go ahead and get 3 cards out for Capricorn for our base layer. We've got past energy, present energy, near future energy. Okay, and then I wanted to pull an archetype card. So these are simple cards that I made with Jungian archetypes on them to help me get a significator, if you will, which is something maybe worth looking up. So let's get a little bit of a read on Capricorn's energy. Okay. Caregiver. Okay. Okay. All right. So for your past energy, we have the 7 of Cups in reverse. For your present energy, we have the Six of Cups upright. And for your near future energy, we have the star Capricorn. Holy smokes. Okay, this is beautiful already. I'm so happy for you. Okay. Okay, so we'll just, we'll start. The Seven of Cups in reverse is the feeling of like not having any choices, like being pushed up against a wall, backed into a corner. This is feral cat energy slightly, which is kind of funny to imagine Capricorn as a feral cat. The Six of Cups is like a nostalgia energy, which I think is interesting with this message that you can't do things the way that you've kind of always done them. This is, I don't have any choices. I can go back to the thing that I am familiar with. But when we see the star here in the future energy position, this is really like we're moving towards healing. So let's figure out how we get there. We're clarifying the Seven of Cups in reverse with the Lovers in reverse in your past energy. We have the Six of Cups clarified by the Two of Wands in reverse for your present energy. And we have the Page of Wands clarifying the Star card for your near future energy. And I am going to get one more layer because I'm starting to see a story develop. Okay. Okay. All right. Well, you are growing, Capricorn, and I love to see it. I mean, isn't everybody growing? No, they're not. Which is very Capricorn to be like, isn't everybody doing this? No, they're not. Okay. And maybe that's something you needed to hear. Also, I fully have the song Free from K-pop Demon Hunter stuck in my head. So if that matters to you, then there's your sign. Okay. So it's looking like in the past we're having this, okay. The Lovers can be an actual love situation, so take this however it resonates for you. But for me, it's always some kind of a contract, whether that's karmic or covert or whatever the case may be, when we also are clarifying it. So all of these are in reverse. To me, this is indicating like, not only is it in the past, which congratulations, that's beautiful. We love to see a queen move on, girl or guy, or they. But it's also showing like the pattern, right? I don't have any choices. I don't have any options, which is not actually, that's interesting. I don't have any options, and there's no reciprocity here. So this could be a relationship, a job, a way of life, a thought process, a part of yourself that you have recognized is not working for you anymore. And that's really important. Like, I think it cannot be understated how frequently we can, and people in general, can go through life. Sorry, I'm feeling guided to ring this bell. Can go through life not even realizing that we have a problem, let alone seeking solutions for it. Okay, so presently we've got this kind of like I'm going back to what I used to be, or what I'm familiar with, or what I know worked for me before. Clarifying it with the Two of Wands and the Seven of Swords. So first of all, this is I'm like, usually we'll see the Seven of Swords as like a liar or a cheater or whatever, but this is really feeling like keeping things like close to the chest, which the energy that I'm getting, and the fact that you're Capricorn, or this is Capricorn energy, is very much like, yeah, keep that to yourself. It's not everybody's business right now, especially because this Two of Wands is like, I'm not asking anymore. That's the feeling I'm getting, is you're not asking. Okay? Which, again, I do love a Capricorn, if I'm being honest, but and you're kind of keeping this to yourself, which I feel like bears itself out over in this row when we get to the near future energy of this, like, healing. Could be an Aquarius. I love that this is a major arcana here and a major arcana here. You're kind of in this liminality in between phases of growth. And I'm seeing this caregiver card as like caring for yourself, like self-care, and not in that kind of hinky way where you're like, I'm going to take a bubble bath. Although please take a freaking bubble bath. But more in the way of you're going, this wasn't working. I don't like where I am. I need to move forward. I used to say all the time that, like, in order to get where you're going, you have to figure out where you are and where you've been. And even though we're not going to go back and redo a thing that we know, even if it worked for us, there's something to be said for regrouping before you move forward. And I have a lot of respect for that. I think that's really beautiful. And of course, I always love to see the star come through, because I love a healed anybody. All right. I mean, I love an unhealed anybody, but you're worth the effort to heal yourself, or to work on healing, to be on that journey. Clarified by the Page of Wands, this is like a creative inspiration. This is kind of beautiful because there's an innocence for me to the pages. They're like a bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. And I just heard wide-eyed, and then it was almost like somebody scratched that out with a black pen, like no, bright-eyed, because wide-eyed gives the feeling of naivete versus innocence, right? Naivete, I believe, for me, is more of a choice. Like, I'm choosing to dismiss the things that are kind of in front of my face, as opposed to innocence of like, I've never seen this before. So bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. And then the moon. So another major arcana over here in the future. This is some amount of, I want to say shadow work, but that almost feels like, it almost feels like describing it as shadow work cheapens it a little bit. And maybe that's just because of the like colloquial connotations. Ooh, that's fancy. The colloquial connotations of what shadow work is. But there is, going back to the past, to a phase you've been in before, to pull out new information to move forward, as opposed to going back into an old phase that you've been in before to sit there. You see how there's a difference there? Like, I hope I'm making sense the way that I'm describing it. Let's go ahead and get some, these are, I made these cards. I want to clarify these, and I want to ask, like, what was the obstacle in the past? What was the thing you were working to overcome? Because this feels pretty straightforward, so it makes me think there's something we're not quite getting to yet. So, well, that's a better question. Spirit, why is Capricorn here? Why are we having this reading? Thank you. Goodness. Okay. Knight of Swords. All right, clarify that. Page of Cups. Okay. What is the, let's clarify this past energy. Let's see. Wheel of Fortune. Okay. The Devil. Okay. Well, you're spending some time here in this nostalgic state, in this kind of veiled Devil in reverse, which in this context, the Devil in reverse is giving, I'm ungrounded, which is kind of rare for a Capricorn. So it makes me wonder if somebody I'm reading for isn't like a Capricorn, maybe in their big three. Clarify this caregiver over here. Who is Capricorn taking care of? Thank you. Three of Wands. Taking care of your expectations? Are they expectations that are placed on you, or the expectations you place on you, or the expectations you have of other people? What are we? Two of Wands again. Two of Wands and the Three of Wands. The Two of Wands in reverse over here. King of Swords flipped out. What are you doing, Capricorn? Okay. So I'm kind of getting another storyline here. So take this as it resonates. If it's not for you, no reason to get activated by a tarot reader on YouTube. But whatever this relationship was sucking the life out of you. Right? And again, I can't stress, this can also be a part of yourself. But when we're looking at this caregiver with the Two and Three of Wands, I'm getting a asked and answered vibe over here with the caregiver, like ships out. I want my payout. I want my ships back in, combined with the caregiver. This looks like, when did this happen? I've got to grab a different deck. Bear with me. When did this happen, this past energy? Tell me about this. Tell me about this past energy. Because I want to feel how long ago. Maybe you're going through it right now. Okay, well, that was just rude. Interesting. Okay, so the ones that fell, this is fascinating. January. Rarely. Okay. Okay. All right, I'm just riffing, so go with me or not. In a type of winter, whether that was your personal winter or literal January, right? there was a relationship here with a noun: job, lover, sense of self, family. And it ended because you felt like you had no other choice but to end it. Why did they feel like they had no other choice but to end it? Five of Swords. Okay, so some manipulation. It was too much. There was no reciprocity, and when the Wheel of Fortune spun, it spun not in favor of this union, whatever this may be. Clarify that. The Fool. Okay, so that's how we get to here, right? We have the Fool leading to here. So now you're kind of sitting, like I said, in this liminal space, in this in between. Took a leap of faith. You got back here, but you're missing it because, duh. How long was this? From winter to summer. So from some period of cold deadness, and it brought you alive. And I think that'll be the thing that's difficult to get over, is feeling like you're not really awake or not really alive, and somebody or something comes into your life that puts the sun back in there, and then they're gone, because not everything is a forever love, again, regardless of your circumstance. So the Wheel of Fortune spins, not in favor of this union, again, obviously due to the lack of reciprocity, the karmic nature of whatever this was. And you go Fool mode. You jump off the cliff. This is almost like, okay, this is how I'm picturing this, right? The Fool jumps off this cliff, and now we're in free fall as we figure out where we're going to land. The beautiful thing about this is, like, you're landing. You're going to land. You're going to jump off of the cliff, fall into the underworld. Look, we're even falling past the devil here. I hope you can see this. We're falling past the devil, past earthly realm. But also, I just got this, you're not feeling like yourself, which is totally normal. It's okay. We have to fall apart to fall back together. And I know for Capricorn, there is kind of a beauty in being in stability, and not rigidity, but stability. This almost like gentle, well, I don't know, gentle feels like it cheats a Capricorn, but this steadiness and contentment in being steady, right? There's not a lot of restless energy from most Capricorns I've ever met. And so maybe you are feeling restless with this kind of, like I said, this veiled, almost secretive energy. I'm really drawn to this Two of Swords here. So it's feeling like you're like, did I make the right choice? And yes, the answer is yes. Okay. And you're changing your expectations. Tell me, clarify this, devil. I just want to see. Ace of Wands. Okay, so this Ace of Wands is the potential, this passion. And this is feeling like creative passion, not like, you know, romance necessarily, although put it as it fits in your life or wherever you are on the timeline. So we have this Ace of Wands leading over. So this is this inspiration, this passion, this new seed. And I love that too, because then we have the Page of Wands. If you've listened to any of my other videos, I consider aces as potential. It's the seed, but not every seed germinates and sprouts. Anybody who's ever grown cannabis can tell you that. You're just looking over it, waiting on it. But in this case, it did, because look, now we have this page who is the sapling in the same suit, right? But there's some healing, hence the Six of Swords. There's some like moving out of this phase of a little bit of chaos. You need to stop spying on whatever it is that you're supposed to be letting go of. It's okay. But it's going to prolong. It's kind of like picking at a scab. Every time you go back to look at that and feel this Page of Cups feeling, even though you know it's a lie, King of Swords, right? It's the King of Swords is here to tell you, like, it's not what you think it is. Every time you go back, you pull that scab, and it has to start to re-heal all over again. So honestly, in the name of practicality, stop spying on them. And frankly, regardless of the outcome of this situation, like, if they're supposed to come back, they will. If that job is supposed to be there, it will come back. It will be there. Your job is to take care of this right here. Moving out of this tumultuous situation. Uncovering what part of you was drawn to whatever this was. Because this looks like hell. Like, this looks, yeah, what are you, and you're a Capricorn. Like, that's not how we love. Whether it's love a job, whatever. But I find this image so beautiful. I find that, and I like to, and I know you'll see this in almost every star card, but I like the combination of earth and water because this is very sea goat, right? It's very Capricorn. Okay. All right, Spirit, what should we do next? It feels like we're not, okay, so here's what I want to know. I want to know how we move from this liminality to here. So we know this is where you're headed, we know this is where you are, and we can see how you got to where you are. But let's figure out how we're going to get over here and stop spying on them. Well, that's not really fair. You do what you feel like you need to do. I will tell you from experience, as a person who has experienced life, it's picking a scab, which leaves a scar, a worse scar, pockmark even. All right, let's get some of these message cards. Oh, I want to see actually. First, we're going to get another archetype card. I kind of want to balance this reading out a little bit. I'm going to move these out the way. Okay, so we're going to get an archetype card to see. I like this caregiver for yourself, this like managing your expectations, your wishes and your expectations, the ask and the answer, right? Managing that. That's pretty beautiful and in tune. So I want to see where we're headed in terms of archetype over here. Can I get a card for Capricorn for... Okay, thank you. Explorer. Beautiful! Yay! This makes me so happy. I'm like grinning from ear to ear. I love this. Okay. Okay. Clarify that. Strength. Yes, Capricorn. That's what I'm talking about. The Tower, part of the process, right? There's a lesson before the blessing type of thing, right? Also, you can't really appreciate it if you're still stuck up here, right? This is beautiful. Ah, I got like chills. I'm so excited for you. Okay, let's get some messages out for Capricorn. No, I'm sorry. Look at me going. Look at me doing what I'm doing. I'm not listening. I want to see how we get from here to here. I'm not listening to my own self. Okay, okay. Thank you. Thank you. That's a bit much. Yeah. That's a bit much. We got one on the floor. Bear with me. Okay, the one that fell on the floor is Ten of Pentacles and the King of Pentacles. Okay, so stack your dough. Okay, so this is... Okay, so the thing that came through just now as I looked at these cards is, right, like a kind of a work-in, tangibility, which is very, very Capricorn. But I'm coming back to that message about we cannot do this the same way we did it before. So what's the difference here, Spirit? What's the difference? Nine of Swords. This is like losing sleep. So we're not going to do that. Caregiver, right? We're going to take care of, well... you're searching for an idea. You're searching for an idea. Maybe you don't know how to move from Nine of Swords to Ten of Pentacles to King of Pentacles. Eight of Swords. Okay. Tell me more. Thank you. Queen of Capricorn. You're gonna have to feel the feels. And I don't mean intellectualize the feels and go, I bet I'm having feelings right now. I mean, feel the feels. Why don't they want to? Well, because it hurts. Duh. That's why we don't want to feel it. Give me one more. I want to see how we're getting. I'm feeling trapped. I'm tired. I'm anxious. I'm having bad dreams. Although check your dreams. Maybe consider having a dream journal. That might be a way for you to track the progress at the very least. Also, it's just a great way to see what your subconscious is trying to tell you. Ten of Pentacles, the financial stability. King of Pentacles, the Queen of Cups. I'm getting this Queen of Cups, maybe somebody you know, or a place you can go, somebody you know that is a kind of a good example of feeling the feelings, or like a sounding board, which I know Capricorn, I know it's not really your thing, but it's good for you. It's also part of the process, right? We can't do things the way that we've done them, or we will end up right back in the same spot, and look how freaking hard you fought to get out of there. That's so important. Who's this Queen of Cups? Tell me about this Queen of Cups. It may also be an indicator to caregiver to come into some form of feminine energy. No, I don't mean girl guy. I mean the principle of being, right? If masculine energy is the principle of doing, right? Feminine energy could be considered the principle of being, of allowing yourself to sit, and because we're talking about cups, to sit in this discomfort, to sit in these feelings. It is okay to do that. Who's this Queen of Cups? Tell me more about this Queen of Cups. Greece. Tell me more, tell me more. Why do I keep throwing these cards on the floor? Sorry, Capricorn. Times are tough, but I like it. I like what we got. Okay. So this Queen of Cups is a Hierophant of some kind, which is some kind of a teacher, spiritual, intellectual, some kind of a teacher, somebody who has some amount of authority. It could also be that you're moving to become the Hierophant, but I'm really getting this as a different person. They're going to tell you the truth, and you're going to get your magic back. And then that's how we start this process of healing. I love this. I love this so much. So when can we see Capricorn move from this center liminal space into this transition period where we're actually moving into the explorer energy, where we're actually moving forward? When can we see this from Capricorn, please? Spirit, can I get a card? When can we see this starting to come through for Capricorn? New moon. Okay. So the new moon, I'm feeling called to look it up. And I'm feeling a little convicted because usually I know this off the top of my head. Bear with me, Cap, sorry. So December 4th at around 6:20 Eastern Standard Time is the full moon in Gemini. Gemini is sticking out to me there. Tell me about this Gemini. I want this deck again. Tell me about the Gemini. Is this the Queen of Cups? Yes. Is this a person? Let me see. Yeah. And they're waiting for you. Or they're not. Are they waiting? Yeah, they're waiting for you. Okay, so person, job, energy, epiphany, something is coming around the time of the new moon, which is really, frankly, a perfect time for that. And it's almost like this person's going to kind of help you get your mojo back, but not in a way where you have to be dependent on them. This is somebody, especially as a Hierophant. And by the way, when I was splitting the deck here and looking at these cards, I pulled the Hierophant again. So this is definitely somebody who's going to teach you. And I think you're going to almost feel relief. Now, don't let that pride get in the way, Capricorn. In my life, Capricorns have primarily been extremely good teachers for me. But we need to remember, like, I can be a good teacher and a good student. There's a time for everything, right? There's a time and a place. So let's get some advice and message cards. And then we're going to pull some charms and we'll wrap it up for you, Capricorn. Thank you for being here. If you like this reading, I hope that you'll like it. Subscribe maybe. Comment if you would be interested in perhaps having a extended readings on some of these where I could do things a little bit differently or go deeper or whatever the case may be. So let's go ahead and get some advice for Capricorn. We're just going to lay these out. I'm hearing relaxed but focused, soft but certain. Okay. Are you kidding me? That's so cool. I'll never get over that. All right, Capricorn, it is done. There's something about taking accountability for listening to understand. right? So we have people who are speaking to be heard. We have people, oh, hold on, there's something, people who, there's a, something about the meeting between listening to understand and speaking to be understood. And there's like an accountability for your part. If you're the listening party, I need to listen to understand, not be committed to misunderstanding somebody. Um, and if you're the speaking party, you need to try to speak to be understood, which is like consider your audience, that sort of thing. We have more, Spirit? It is written, so it shall be. This is okay. Yeah, I can see this, especially with these major arcanas over here. This is, I don't want to say predestined because I feel like that's pretty limiting, but there's something like, um, if you think about infinite timelines as being strings, just kind of wiggling off into space, there are certain points where those strings or those threads are going to come together regardless of the path they take to get there. So there's something about that here. I'm still not feeling like I'm getting like a level of advice. Get some advice. We are not promised absolution here. Okay. Well, Capricorn, I'm sure you would want that with your archetype, with your energy. Uh, Absolution makes us feel safe. But the only way we get absolution is by controlling every variable. And even then, you'll feel like a failure for not controlling it properly or missing something that could. Is this an oldest daughter? Are you an oldest daughter in the actual literal sense of like I'm the oldest in my family and a daughter? You have oldest daughter energy because um that's pretty common, is like I need to be sure of something, right? Parentification leaves us feeling uncertain about pretty important things. And so sorry, Capricorn, that feels painful. Like that feels that way to me. Like it feels like you need to hear that, stop seeking absolution because you're not going to find it, and how painful that is. But there is an amount of freedom in no longer having that be your focus. I don't know. I think you can do this, Cap. Let's get some charms. These charms are going to be either ways to tell that this reading was definitely for you, although if you're still here, I'm assuming it was definitely for you. Um, and or they can be ways for you to know that you're on the path of this reading. If you're like in some part of this timeline and you see these later, this may mean something, okay? So we're getting so many butterflies. I love to see transformation around here. She believed she could, so she did. Look, I'm telling you, oldest daughter energy. Comment if you're an oldest daughter and this reading resonated with you, please. Royalty with a crown here. We have an owl. This is very wise. This is a wise energy, which, again, it's Capricorn. I'm feeling guided to put this here, not on the relaxed but focused one. On this. This feels toxic. Handmade, yes. Horseshoe, some luck. If you believe in luck, I don't know that I do. Anchor, grounding, right? Bringing yourself down, holding yourself in place. It's not always appropriate to be anchored, but in some cases it is. Love yourself. Thank you. Maybe you're feeling some amount of gratitude right now. There's a cool, like, pretty cool cat right here. Some intuition is at play. We've got Saturn. Hey, Capricorn. Yeah, girl. The letter D. Maybe you or someone you know, someone involved in this reading. Another butterfly, because we're really transforming. Grapes, like a bunch of grapes, and that's giving abundance, right? I'm picturing like the gods, right? And then we have a wolf baying at the sky. So, inside of you, there are two lone wolves. No, I'm just kidding. All right, Capricorn, I'm really grateful you let me read for you today. Like I said, I'd love to hear how this reading hits you. If it's yours, I'd love to hear about it. So, take care, and I'll see you next time.